Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because today we've got something really eye-opening for you. We're diving into the 20 most unlivable cities on Earth. These cities might seem like they're straight out of a movie, scary, intense, and absolutely chaotic, but they're very real places where people are forced to live. So, buckle up and let's get into it. First up, we've got Dhaka, the bustling capital of Bangladesh. Now, Dhaka is home to over 21 million people. Imagine living in a city where the population density is insane, and the air quality is, well, a nightmare. Air pollution here is some of the worst in the world. Seriously, you'll feel it in your lungs just by stepping outside. And it's not just the air that's the problem. The city is completely overcrowded, with poor infrastructure, traffic jams that seem to never end, and sanitation issues that leave large parts of the city without access to clean water. On top of all that, unemployment is high, and the poverty rate is through the roof. It's a tough place to live, and it's no wonder it's often ranked among the least livable cities in the world. Next up is Kolkata, India's cultural capital, with a population of about 14.8 million people. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, it is. And it's also a place where pollution, overcrowding, and poverty are a daily reality. Air quality in Kolkata is dreadful, and it's ranked among the top polluted cities globally. The traffic jams here are like nothing you've ever seen before. People squashed into every inch of space, and roads clogged with old, polluting vehicles. Add to that an unreliable public transport system and basic infrastructure that often leaves much to be desired, and you've got yourself a daily struggle just to get through life. And don't even get me started on the poverty here. The city is home to some of the most overcrowded slums in the world, and unemployment remains a huge issue. It's a hard place to call home. Let's move on to Port Moresby, the capital of Papua New Guinea. While it may look beautiful with its tropical landscapes, this city is dealing with some serious problems that make it one of the toughest places to live. Port Moresby has a population of around 400,000 people, but its beauty hides some dark truths. The crime rate is extremely high, and violence is a regular occurrence. This city is also plagued by poor public services. Inadequate healthcare and limited access to basic necessities like clean water make life incredibly difficult for its residents. And with a lack of proper education and job opportunities, unemployment continues to rise, trapping people in a cycle of poverty. It's hard to imagine living in such an unstable environment, right? Heading to Southeast Asia, let's talk about Manila, the capital of the Philippines. With over 13 million residents, Manila is known for its overcrowding, but that's just the start of the issues. The traffic jams here are legendary. Just picture yourself stuck in traffic for hours every single day. And the pollution? It's off the charts. Not only does the air stink, but there's also an alarming amount of water contamination and waste piling up everywhere. Add to that high crime rates, especially petty theft, and you've got a city that's tough to survive in. And the lack of proper employment opportunities for a growing population means life here is a constant struggle. Next, let's fly to Africa and talk about Lagos, Nigeria's largest city with a population of over 23 million people. This city is chaotic, but in a way that's almost unimaginable. First off, the traffic is terrible. So bad that it can take hours just to get from one part of the city to another. And the air pollution here is some of the worst in the world, making it hard to breathe, especially for people with respiratory conditions. But the real issue here is poverty and crime. With rampant unemployment, many are forced into low-paying jobs or are stuck in slums with no chance of escaping. Add to that frequent flooding and crime rates that are through the roof, and you get a city that's incredibly difficult to live in. Let's shift gears to Cairo, Egypt's sprawling capital. With over 20 million people, Cairo is one of the largest cities in the world, and it's one of the hardest to live in. The pollution here is crazy, and it's not just the air, it's the water too. The streets are clogged with cars, and the public transportation system is not only old but also unreliable. On top of that, unemployment is rampant, and basic public services like sanitation and healthcare are often inadequate. It's a city where the lack of infrastructure and a struggling economy make everyday life extremely tough. Heading to Karachi, Pakistan. With a population of around 16 million, this city is known for its instability, both in terms of politics and daily life. Karachi is overcrowded with rampant crime and frequent political unrest. The city's infrastructure is under constant strain, and basic amenities like water and electricity are unreliable. Unemployment rates are high, and with poor healthcare and education systems, the city remains one of the most challenging places to live in the world. Let's move on to Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where 13 million people live in conditions that would be unimaginable for most of us. Kinshasa struggles with lack of basic services. Things like healthcare, electricity, and clean water are often unavailable. The city's unemployment rate is sky high, and poverty is widespread. And with crime at an all-time high, it's no surprise that Kinshasa ranks as one of the least livable cities globally. Next, let's head to Mumbai, India's financial powerhouse with a population of over 20 million people. Mumbai is one of the most iconic cities in the world, but it's also one of the toughest places to call home. Now, Mumbai has a lot going for it, but its problems are huge. First off, the overpopulation is insane. The city is packed with people, and it's not unusual to find families living in cramped slums with little access to basic amenities like water and sanitation. The air quality here is terrible, and during the monsoon season, the flooding only adds to the chaos. And then, there's the cost of living. Despite being one of the wealthiest cities in India, the living conditions for the average person are far from luxurious. Housing is expensive, and the slums have some of the worst living conditions imaginable. The city also struggles with unemployment, and many residents are forced into low-wage jobs that don't even cover basic expenses. Life here can be grueling if you don't have the means to thrive. Next on our list is São Paulo, Brazil's largest city and one of the most populous in the Americas. With a population of around 12 million, São Paulo is an economic hub, but it's far from an easy place to live. São Paulo's traffic congestion is notorious. The city has one of the longest commute times in the world, and when you're stuck in traffic, it's not just a hassle, it's a health issue. The city is also grappling with pollution, particularly air quality, which affects everyone, but especially people with respiratory conditions. And while it's Brazil's economic engine, São Paulo is also highly unequal. Crime rates are elevated in certain parts of the city, especially in the favelas, and unemployment rates remain high. While São Paulo has wealth, it also has deep poverty, and that makes life in the city challenging for many. Now let's take a look at Mexico City, the sprawling capital of Mexico with a population of over 9 million people. It's an amazing city, rich in culture, but living here isn't a walk in the park. Mexico City is one of the largest cities on Earth, and with that comes overcrowding. But more than that, it's notorious for its air pollution. For years, the city has struggled to manage its industrial emissions and the sheer number of vehicles on the road. If you're living here, you're breathing in some pretty terrible air every day. Public transportation can also be a nightmare. The metro system is overcrowded, and on top of that, crime rates are high in certain areas, especially theft and violent crime. The struggle for employment is real, and with poverty widespread, many residents face constant economic pressure. Let's head to Baghdad, the capital of Iraq. With a population of around 7 million, this city is no stranger to hardship, but the challenges here are extreme. Baghdad has been through decades of conflict, and it shows. The city is dealing with constant political instability and violence. Infrastructure has been severely damaged, and basic services like electricity, water, and healthcare are not reliable. Even though things have calmed down since the worst years of the war, crime and terrorist activity remain a major threat. And don't forget the extreme pollution that plagues the city, affecting everything from air quality to water contamination. Unemployment rates are high, and much of the population lives in desperate poverty. Let's talk about Dakar, the capital of Senegal. With a population of around 3.5 million, Dakar is a city full of life, but also one that faces serious difficulties. While Dakar is known for its vibrant culture, it's also notorious for overcrowding. The infrastructure struggles to keep up with the growing population, leading to poor sanitation, garbage piling up in the streets, and inconsistent access to clean water. Unemployment is also a significant issue, with many people having to work in the informal economy. And in certain parts of the city, crime, especially theft, has been a growing concern. Despite its charm, life here can be very tough for many residents. Last but not least, we have Tehran, the capital of Iran. With a population of over 9 million, Tehran is the country's economic center, but it's also a place where living can be incredibly difficult. Tehran struggles with air pollution that's among the worst in the world, especially in the winter months. The city's traffic is a constant headache, with long commute times and overcrowded roads. And while Tehran is the heart of Iran's economy, unemployment remains high, particularly among the youth. On top of that, the healthcare system is underfunded, and access to basic public services can be difficult. While the city has a lot to offer culturally, living here requires a lot of patience and resilience. Next, we're heading to Caracas, Venezuela, a city that has experienced severe turmoil over the last decade. With a population of around 3 million, Caracas is a city full of hardship and struggle. Caracas has one of the highest crime rates in the world. Violent crime, including homicides, kidnappings, and robberies, has surged dramatically, making it an incredibly dangerous place to live. On top of that, the country's economic collapse has led to massive inflation, leaving people without the basics. Food, medicine, and essential goods are often in short supply. Unemployment is sky high, and with political instability causing constant unrest, it's incredibly hard for people to see a path forward. Many people live in poverty, and getting basic services like electricity or clean water is a luxury in certain areas. Let's talk about New Delhi, India's capital. With a population of around 19 million, New Delhi is a city that combines history with modern struggles, but unfortunately the struggles are overwhelming for many. New Delhi faces extreme air pollution. It's among the most polluted cities in the world. The air quality is so poor that people wear masks to protect themselves, and health concerns are growing by the day, especially for children and the elderly. Then there's the overcrowding. With millions of people living in slums, sanitation is a huge issue and water contamination is common. Unemployment is a constant problem, and with the gap between the rich and the poor growing, it's no wonder why many struggle here. Now let's take a look at Jakarta, Indonesia's massive capital with a population of over 10 million. This city might seem vibrant, but it's grappling with some serious issues that make it one of the toughest places to live. First, traffic congestion in Jakarta is infamous. It's normal for people to spend hours stuck in traffic, wasting time and energy. And if you're thinking about air quality, pollution levels are dangerously high. Jakarta's air quality regularly ranks among the worst in the world. But it doesn't stop there. Flooding is a common occurrence during the rainy season, and the city's drainage system is overwhelmed. Jakarta also has a high poverty rate, and the lack of job opportunities means many residents are stuck in low-paying, unstable work. Heading to Nairobi, Kenya's bustling capital, a city that's growing quickly but facing serious challenges for its residents. Nairobi has a population of around 4.5 million, and the future doesn't look too bright for many living here. While Nairobi is famous for its beautiful nature and as a hub of business, it also suffers from overcrowding and a lack of infrastructure. Basic services like clean water are often hard to come by, and there are huge gaps between the rich and the poor. Crime is on the rise, especially petty theft and armed robbery. Unemployment is rampant in Nairobi, particularly among the youth, and with insufficient healthcare, education, and sanitation, many residents find themselves struggling just to make ends meet. Next up is Algiers, the capital of Algeria, with a population of around 3.5 million. Algiers is a city of contrasts, but unfortunately the challenges far outweigh the benefits for many of its residents. Algiers is dealing with poor infrastructure. Overcrowding, garbage collection issues, and unreliable public transport make daily life difficult. The air quality is poor due to industrial emissions and traffic, and the city's healthcare system can be hit or miss. On top of that, unemployment is high, especially among young people, and while the city has some wealth, poverty and crime remain serious problems in certain neighborhoods. And last, but certainly not least, we've got Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea. Pyongyang has a population of around 3 million people, but it's a city that's isolated and has some of the strictest living conditions in the world. Life in Pyongyang is not like anywhere else. The government controls every aspect of life, from jobs to food to personal freedom. Most people are unemployed in the traditional sense, and many rely on state-provided rations for survival. Air quality is actually one of the least of the city's problems. Lack of freedom, state surveillance, and the constant tension with the outside world make it incredibly hard for residents to live a normal life. While Pyongyang might be relatively clean, its harsh regime creates one of the most oppressive environments on Earth. Well, there you have it, 20 of the most unlivable cities on Earth. From overcrowding and pollution to political instability and rampant poverty, these places offer a daily struggle for their residents. But even in the toughest of circumstances, the people of these cities continue to push forward with resilience and hope. I hope this video has given you a real understanding of what it's like to live in some of the world's most challenging cities. Let me know in the comments what you think, or if you have any experiences from these cities or others you want to share. If you found this video fascinating, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. We have a lot more incredible insights, untold stories, and fascinating facts coming your way soon. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring. No more. Be more.